All right, everybody, welcome to today's edition of SWAC Talk, the show we cover the SWAC inside and out. Of course, I am your tour guide around the SWAC, C Wells, coming at you. And we're gonna just chop it up a little bit, man. Gonna talk about striking while the iron is hot, SWAC exposure, and the whole nine. This is just gonna be like a little freestyle type of thing, man. I don't really have too many notes wrote down, so I got a couple ideas, and it's just gonna kind of be a freestyle stream of consciousness type of thing. So y'all can kind of ride with me as I work this out on video. So if you got any comments or anything about what I'm saying, whatever, hit me up for sure in the comments. Subscribe to the channel while you're here. Like the videos and hit that notification bell, man, because as you saw last week, I dropped 4 interviews last week, man. 3 TSU guys. Shout out to my boy Drake Center. Shout out to Jack Nance, Demontario Anderson. Shout out to those TSU guys. Shout out to Logo Luke Jackson from Southern University. Shout out to those guys. We got some more things coming your way real soon. So hit that notification bell because a lot of those videos are going to be dropping on random days. So don't miss out. SWAC Smoke, as usual, coming at you live on Thursdays, approaching our 50th episode in about 3 or 4 weeks. So we're going to try to do something special for that. Hit those socials. You see them on the screen below. I'm more active on my Twitter now than I've probably ever been. So make sure you check out the Twitter page. The IG is where I probably get it in the most. So check that out. Facebook, I do post as well. Anything else, hit me up on the email. And if you want to help the show grow, man, because we are starting to get into a different area of growth on the show, man, you can hit up the Cash App, $SWACTalk. Also, we still have those SWAC Smoke tees, man. So if you want to copy one, hit my boy DJ up on his Instagram, and make that happen. I have all the information in my description below at the end of the video. So let's jump directly into it, man. This video, I'm basically titling it "Striking While the Iron is Hot." This is basically SWAC exposure. What's next? What could be next? And what do we need to do to get where a lot of people want to go? So first and foremost, I want to definitely throw out a salute to Jackson State University, Coach Deion Sanders, Shadura Sanders, and Mr. Travis Hunter for gracing the cover of Sports Illustrated this past week. That's huge, man. It has been like 25 years since a SWAC person, player, coach, whatever, was on the cover of Sports Illustrated when Steve Air 2 McNair was on the cover with the Hand Him the Heisman headline. Also, Coach Eddie Robinson before that was on the cover when he was at Grambling doing his thing. So this has been a long time coming, man, and now the opportunities are there. More things can come in the future. So first and foremost, that's salute to me, from me to JSU and Coach Prime and his guys for gracing the cover, man. Really good article as well. So check that out if you haven't checked it out. You can cop it on. You can cop a copy to keep for your collection or the frame and whatever, or you can catch it on digital and read the article and whatnot on the digital Sports Illustrated website. So make sure if you haven't checked that out, man, please check that out because that's SWAC history. I know we have our spats back and forth because this is a rivalry type of thing. JSU, everybody else, we all get it in. But at the end of the day, SWAC is family, and when one wins, we all win. Of course, we have to do our part to increase some things, but somebody has to set it. Somebody has to set the precedence, and then you have to do what you have to do to keep the ball rolling. So salute to JSU. Definitely, man, I was super proud when I saw that. And it's just, it's just a good thing. So that's where I start with this. I have been on Twitter all week last week, and there were, mad spaces. I think BJ Jones had a space, a couple other people did some spaces, multiple tweets and everything talking about, what's next for SWAC football, with classics and ticket prices and, just exposure in general. So I decided to kind of make a video of my own to build off of what everybody's saying. I'm not taking nobody's ideas as my own. To be honest, I don't even remember any ideas that anybody threw out there. So if I say something that somebody else said already that you heard, I'm not taking nothing from nobody. I'm just spitballing. Like I said, this is more of a freestyle type of thing. So I figured, everybody says exposure. Nobody, well, I'm not saying nobody, but a lot of people don't explain what they mean by exposure. A magazine cover is exposure. TV coverage is exposure. Some people think TV, is only cable. No, TV now is digital. A lot of people have cut the cord. I've cut the cord like 3 years ago. I don't even have a cable box. I use my Fire Stick, and I use all Hulu, ESPN Plus, you name it, whatever. But I'm not a cable guy, so that's still on my TV. Just because I stream it over the internet or whatever, it's still TV coverage. So first and foremost, I think a lot of people need to start to kind of reshape their train of thoughts, the way some things used to be and the way things are now. So that's exposure. Social media is exposure. Message boards, whatever. All of that's exposure. It's not like the old days where you only had print and cable, print and TV, and maybe radio. But now you have multiple avenues. So all of that is exposure. So when people, to me, say exposure, they need to expound more on what they mean. And exposure is good and bad. You can't have all eyes on you, and then if something bad happens, you don't want nobody to know about it because it's family business. But you need to be able to handle all of it. And when you have a guy like Deion Sanders, who is a guy who is huge in media, he bringing more eyes to your product as a whole, the product of the individual schools. Even though a lot of people come for JSU, they still see and hear what everybody else does and talks about. And you have an opportunity to gain more fans for your school. Some people may watch a JSU game against Valley and be like, damn, that guy Caleb Johnson is a damn good back running the ball for Valley. Valley defense, this coach Dancy, that. Let me keep tabs on what they're doing. So now you have an opportunity for your school to grow by virtue of playing against this guy and his team on TV. Now, I know a lot, like I said, a lot of this is rivalry stuff, but, in the sake of this conversation, man, all that's out the window. This is all about the future of all of us and the conference as a whole. So let's start, man. What's next? That's probably the $10,000 pyramid question, whatever it is. Where do we go from here? And that's kind of going to be the topic of this video, is where do we go from here? And the frontier is vast. We have multiple ways to go, multiple places. It's all up to us and our schools in where we go. There's still, there's going to always be talk of playoffs. There's going to be talk of the Celebration Bowl or any other postseason opportunities. And that's all out there in front of you, in one scope. Like I said, I've always felt like you can have the best of both worlds, playing in the Celebration Bowl and a playoff team. I personally think if you want the best of both worlds, then maybe you should do away with the championship game. Go to a pod scheduling system, like 3-team pods or something like that, and then play the schedule 8 or 9 games, and then the top team is the champ. Second place team, runner up. That top team can choose if they want to go to playoffs or Celebration Bowl. Second place team goes to Celebration Bowl, or vice versa. And then you get your best team possibly going into playoffs, because I think, some people are going to want to do that. Some people may not want to go to playoffs. They might want to go Celebration Bowl the first year they win. Maybe next year they have another good team to go to playoffs that year or whatever. But I think first and foremost, to have that, I think it's important to apply for an auto bid in that situation, so you are guaranteed your team to make the playoffs. You don't have any sit back and wait for resumes and all of that. So that, to me, is pretty much where I stand as far as that kind of thing goes. That's one of the things that I know a lot of people are looking at. And like I said, you can get the best of everything through that. You can get your revenue and your money from the Celebration Bowl. You can get whatever you get out of going to the playoffs, and you're happy, man. You have everything. You got 2 guaranteed postseason teams every year. I mean, if you got a third place team that's really good, you may be able to get another team in the playoffs. Now that's always going to be tough, but that's a possibility. if that works. Then you don't have to worry about, if you got a Southern or a Grambling that wins, they know where they're going. You know, if they finish second, they know they probably gonna go to Atlanta because the other team gonna want to go to the playoffs, just like in the '90s with the Heritage Bowl. JSU won the SWAC a few times. They went to the playoffs. Southern Grambling went to Heritage Bowl. Southern Grambling finished first. They went to Heritage Bowl. Jackson State went to playoffs. Alcorn playoffs. So it's there for you, and I don't see why it can't be that way again if that's what you want. And to me, that's one of the arguments that I don't like about the playoffs and all of that is why we got to have one or the other. You can have both. You can have steak and potatoes. You don't have to eat one or the other. It's like you can do whatever you want if you try. So that's, to me, that's probably the first immediate thing that a lot of people are gonna want to take chances on is the postseason. Sticking with the season, classic games. A lot of everybody falls on a different side of that. Some people are more home and home. Some people love to travel to different cities for games. And, I like home and home. When I was younger, I liked the classics because, it was the opportunity to see your team play in an NFL stadium and whatnot. But now that I'm older and I can travel and I can go to NFL games when I want to, the appeal and draw of playing and seeing my team play in that stadium is lessened because I can go to that stadium at any time on a Sunday and catch a game. So I'd rather see a matchup like a JSU FAMU in Tallahassee and in Jackson. Yes, you're not getting the Miami thing, but you're getting a home and home, and it's going to be a crazy atmosphere. Even with a game like Southern and TSU in Arlington, I just think that's a home and home type of game. You're going to get a better turnout, honestly, at both places. Less travel for everybody, so you have the opportunity to play these home and home games, a non-conference game, home and home, or one off, at one school, and then, whatever. But, if you're going to add classic games, then obviously you have to have the proper setup. The contracts got to be right. The money got to be right. The TV coverage or ability to televise games has to be right. So you and the other school and the league need to benefit the most from this, not the promoter. And that's where you get into the contracts and everything, making sure you're getting a good deal because all money ain't good money. So that's where, that comes in at, do you want to give up a home game to go play somewhere in front of 10,000 people when you could play in front of 15,000 at home and, basically keep the money, so it's just, one of those things like what, which one you want. I just think that we need to be more selective in what we choose to do with our programs and with our product. We're starting to get to the point where, we should be able to, the school should be able to negotiate these kind of things themselves, and if you need a promoter, it can be somebody who's more of a mediator, somebody who can, do the logistics and all of that, but they ain't looking for like a huge slice. Like, I don't know if it's still that way, but I looked at the State Fair Classic contract, and both schools get like 30-something%, and the promoter gets like 28% or something like that. It's like that's damn near all even. So you're only getting 33% of the money. He's getting 33% of the money. You're not coming up. He coming up. You're not. So it's, I think you need to really have a better idea and handling of that. Now, if that works for you, then that works for you. Like the one thing I will say is everybody's program is different. Everybody's situation is different. And that's one of the key things that we need to look at when we talk about exposure and we talk about doing things the way that this school does it or this school does it. The things that JSU can do right now with Coach Prime, nobody else really can do. Nobody else has the avenues that he has. Not even, Hugh Jackson or Eddie George. They don't even have the avenues and different things that he has. So you have to model and shape your thing according to your program. Now, if you try to do a one-for-one copy, you're probably going to come up short because you don't have the celebrity status that this guy has. Let's just keep it real. So, a lot of this is going to be, you have to tailor it to your own program, which leads into another topic that a lot of people talked about this week, ticket prices. you need, people feel like you need to get the most money out of your crowd. Maybe a slight increase, $5, $10, per ticket, per game. Maybe if you increase the tickets, $10, you can save that money by being a season ticket holder, and that maybe can influence people to buy season tickets and not be single game walk up type of people. Um, just different things, classic games, increasing the ticket prices. And again, this is something that every program is not going to be able to do. You need to have a pretty solid attendance before you start, messing with your prices. It's kind of like, you playing franchise mode on Madden, and, you're doing the owner, and you rate, you're looking at your prices, you raise your prices, you get a little comment, oh, we don't like to pay that kind of money, or whatever, so you it's not going to be a one-for-one type of thing with every school. But I think if you're in a position to where you can benefit from more revenue, you need to try it. We need to stop watching everybody else's pockets. We need to stop limiting our ideas based off of what we think people won't pay. Obviously right now, times are a little bit tough. Gas prices hella through the roof, whatever. Groceries is mad expensive right now. So maybe some people may not travel this season like they normally would, and a football ticket may be a luxury for you right now. So if that's the case, then you need to maybe wait it out a little bit before you do a move like this. But when the situation is right, I think you need to allow people to make that choice themselves of whether they're gonna pay it or not. Not say they're not gonna pay it, so don't do it. If your product is good and obviously you're winning, people are probably going to be more apt to pay a slight increase. I'm not saying go up, raise ticket prices of $30. $5 or $10 is still, like I said, everybody's pockets is different. So you have to just kind of step out there on a limb and see if it works. If it don't work, then, it just doesn't work. But, I think you have to be able to put yourself in a position to where you can garner the most revenue from what you have. So if you have a nice fan base, then a slight increase should not hurt that, and you'll be able to benefit a little bit more with a little bit more money into the program. That leads to television and media, and this is kind of can be strung together with my next one, which is social media. But to me and a lot of other people out here, the SWAC right now is sitting on the cusp of something great. A lot of us feel like this can be, the boom that takes us to the next level. You need to start to capitalize on this. You need to be able to, get the best, deal that you can get on a TV contract. Obviously, things are different now than a couple years ago when, contracts were first being negotiated. The scope of the conferences is rising. The talent level is rising. You're getting, new hot coaches in. People have shown this past season that they're willing to watch SWAC games. So, I don't know when the contract expires or when you can renegotiate, but, maybe you need to kind of start to renegotiate a bit. But the one thing that I will caution people is that if you look at what other FCS conferences have in terms of TV deals, they don't have much. Some great leagues have some shitty TV deals. They are on some bad regional networks and they hate them. So the SWAC is basically on ESPN. Now, obviously, you're not the top priority, which no FCS team, no G5 team is ever going to be top priority on ESPN over anybody else. Now, if you're willing to go outside the scope of ESPN and you check a Fox or you check a CBS Sports or something like that, or maybe you get a better deal, better coverage, better game times, less opposition from the P5 schools, then maybe you can get a bigger bag that way. You also need to take advantage of your media, the SWAC Digital Network. Maybe they need, they do stream games during the season now, but maybe you need to maybe say, okay, this is going to be our featured game of the week. We're going to broadcast this game, live and get it out on over the air and on us. I don't know the startup prices for anything as far as starting a network and all of that stuff. But if it can be done, maybe you go that route, or you keep it the digital route, but maybe you stream it, instead of just on YouTube. Maybe you start a streaming service, $5 or whatever, and you can get a game every week, live, with good solid production values and everything, and go that route. Also, take advantage of streaming and broadcasting older games. That's something that a lot of people have talked about as well. Showcasing the history of the league, showcasing some of the great teams. Like if you ever watch the Big Ten Network, they have during the off season they have multiple old games that they show each team. If you look at their on demand, each team has like 1 or 2 games from past years that you can go back and watch the full game. Now, obviously, getting footage and things like that are dicey for us, because there's multiple different people that covered these games back in the day. So, getting that kind of stuff and converting it may not be easy, but having some of this stuff, can be, and opening up more eyes, people who are new to this and want to learn more, because everybody doesn't know our history. We can't assume everybody does, but being able to show people, oh, check out this game from, 2007, whatever, 2003, check out this 2003 Grambling game, or whatever the case may be, that can kind of maybe get people more involved in what's going on, and get them to show more attention and understand more about where the league came from and where they're going, so you see that there's been great players come through the league at all times. And that kind of leads into probably the biggest one that everybody talks about. And I if you know me, you see me on SWAC Smoke, you see this channel, I did a video a little while ago about social media in the SWAC. I'm going to link it in my description, and I'll probably have it on the little boxes at the end that you could check out. This has to improve. Everybody is not guilty of this, so don't say, oh, my school do this, my school do that. That's cool. Everybody is not, but everybody needs to increase their social media presence. I think there needs to be more than just, yo, we got a game on Saturday, yo, we out here working hard. Maybe some behind the scenes footage, maybe some, practice footage, maybe just show the guys warming up or working out or whatever. It don't have to be long, maybe, a couple of minutes here and there. Player profiles, coaches being active, whether they have to have somebody tweet it for them or they do it themselves, but, just being more active, showcasing the guys that are coming on recruiting visits, letting people know who is on an official visit, commitment tweets from the school, just different things like that, to get people more engaged, because everybody doesn't scour social media like a lot of us do. Everybody's not following players like a lot of us do. So, we know what's going on because some of the guys post footage from, working out or, doing, things like that. Or doing the pregame walk to the stadium, whatever. We get that because we follow these guys. The average person doesn't, because they don't follow anybody other than maybe the main football page or the main athletics page. So I think you need to find different avenues. I'm not necessarily saying you need to have like a documentary series weekly, like Jackson State or FAMU did, or even Bethune-Cookman, Grambling did at times. I don't think you need that per se, but if you can do it, then that's cool. But I think you just need to increase your presence and let people know more what's going on, give them a look at what's going on, and let them see see things that are going on now. Take advantage of the different media departments at your school. Every kid's on social media for the most part. I'm sure a lot of kids would love to help out, doing graphics and, tweeting, hitting the Instagrams or whatever, just to kind of give you a case, of what's going on. And also YouTube, man, YouTube is big. I mean, there's a lot of great YouTube content creators for this SWAC world. That needs to be maybe, somebody loosely affiliated with each school. They don't necessarily have to be an exact extension of the school, but I think each school needs somebody out here that's doing what a lot of us do to really showcase what's going on with the school, with the football program, basketball program, whatever, that can be your extension of that, you know what I mean? Because as many great people that do what we do out here, man, content creation is not easy. So if you can have multiple different people doing things, you increase the scope, man. I mean, you get to give different angles to the same thing. And, I think having the schools be able to have somebody affiliated with that, it helps a lot. Because, I mean, a lot of people say, a lot of us cover JSU too much, or we cover Southern too much, or we cover Jackson, we cover Alabama A&M or FAMU or whoever, like I had 3 straight TSU interviews last week. Some people probably were like, yo, this ain't a TSU channel. But, I mean, I want to showcase these guys, and those were the guys that came up. So, of course, I'm going to show love because love was shown to me. But if you have somebody maybe kind of like a Hornet Nation page, that can showcase what's going on at Alabama State, then, that's great. That's just an extra avenue to what we do. Because, it's only, we're only so many people that have so much time to do this in our spare time, so we can only cover so much. So I think that being able to have that school extension is great, even if it's an independent person, but they kind of loosely affiliated or, sponsored by the school, whatever, however you want to look at it. I think that helps a lot. The final one I want to touch on is merchandise. I mean, all schools have, their apparel deals, I mean, I don't know how many schools sell, officially licensed merchandise like jerseys and stuff at their bookstores or whatever. I think now with these NIL deals and kids being able to benefit off that likeness, being able to sell a jersey of a kid that, your top dog on your team, the authentic, I mean, it can be a replica, but, like a real jersey, that's made just like the one that looks like the one that has the logo of your supplier, Under Armour, Adidas, Nike, whatever. That I think that goes a long way. I know during basketball season, Adidas had laced all the SWAC schools who wore Adidas. They laced them with some nice Black History type of uniform that they in turn sold after the season, well, really like after the few games that they wore them. So just different things like that. I think it helps a lot. I mean, obviously buying officially licensed merchandise is the key for supporting your program. I mean, I know we got a lot of people who do great stuff and have great gear. Support them because they put in work, but also support the officially licensed merchandise because some of that money goes back to the school. I'm not saying don't shop at some of the other shops that have some great gear. I mean, I shop at, a store that has some really great stuff, and I always will shop there, but I do try to buy licensed merch from Southern University just to do my little part. So that's pretty much, where I stand on this. Like I said, this was just kind of like a, off the top of the head. I didn't know how I wanted to put it down. So, just, let me know what you think, where can we go next as far as exposure and, what's next? How can we strike while the iron is hot to grow this brand bigger and continue to go forward? And not just be stuck in the thought process of this the way that we used to do things. We can only do things that way. There's a new thought process out there. I think we need to meet in the middle and come up with something great. So with that being said, I'm your tour guide, C. Wells, man. Y'all, hope y'all enjoyed this. I'll be back with another edition of SWAC Talk on Wednesday, SWAC Smoke Live on Thursday. Who knows what might pop off in between those days. So keep that notification bell hit so you can get that info when it drops. I'm C. Wells. I'll holler at y'all on the rebound. I'm out of here. Peace.